All right, next up we have rotations. Okay, so with rotations, we're looking at our shapes turning. Okay, so description, the figure is turned, rotated, about a fixed point. Okay, usually the point is the origin, but it could change. All right. Now, there are formulas that go along with the rotations. I'm not going to stress the formulas because now we're looking at 1, 2, 3 different setups. Sometimes the point isn't the origin and this only works for the origin. It only works if the shape rotates around the origin. And that does not always happen. So be very careful memorizing those rules. Your best bet with rotations is just to rotate. All right. So if we want a few reminders about rotating, remember most rotate around the origin right here. Okay. I suggest that you use scratch paper. Okay, if you remember, if we use our scratch paper, I'm going to mark the origin, keeping everything as perfect as possible. And then I'm going to take my pencil. Now if we look, we see here 90 degrees clockwise. So that means I'm going to go a quarter turn to the right. And when I say a quarter, I mean a quarter of a full circle. Okay, so I'm going to hold my middle, rotate my scratch paper, my tracing paper. And I want to make sure that my origin lines up again. And that gives me my new points. Okay, depending on how you do this, if you have, a nice pen, you can kind of dig in a little bit so that you can see through. Okay, I can see mine. You probably can't see it on yours. Or we can look here and say, okay, well, C, so my C prime here would be over 2 down 1. So I'm going to go over 2 down 1 for C prime. Line it back up. D, or excuse me, B right here. Where's that A? I didn't write very clearly. Oh, that's an A. So A is over 1, 2, 3, down 2. So A is over 3, down 2, A prime. So you can just go through and make a mental note of where each of your points are. So B would be over 1, down 3, and that's B prime. And then I draw my shape. And then we'll go through and we'll write our ordered pairs. A prime is 3, negative 2. B prime is 1, negative 3. And C prime is 2, negative 1. Okay, example 2. Rotate the figure 90 degrees counterclockwise. So let me get my paper back. Mark my origin. And I'm going to mark my corners a lot better this time. Now it says 90 degrees counterclockwise. So that means I'm going to do a quarter turn to the left. And when I do my turn, I'm going to go to the left, which would be this direction. Okay, remember counterclockwise is against the way a clock goes. So look at the clock if you have to. So we're going to go a quarter turn until my origin lines back up. Okay, my origin lined up. So now I look here, this is A. So A is going to be at 3, -2, A prime. T is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -2. H is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, -5. And I don't even really need to label or mark M with my paper because I can just make the rectangle. And then we have M prime. Now we just write our ordered pairs. So for M prime, we have over 3 down 5. A over 3 down 2. T over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down 2. And H, that's H, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down 5. And that's M prime, A prime, T prime, and H prime. Don't forget, label everything. It's very, very important that you're marking everything down, especially with rotations. It can be tricky. Okay, and the last one, example 3. Now, I do want to show you what you can do if you don't have scratch paper, or if you don't have tracing paper. Okay, I'm just ripping off a piece of paper. Okay, and we're going to use that. So if I look here, this says rotate 180 degrees. They don't specify clockwise or counterclockwise because 180 is a half turn and it doesn't matter what direction you go in. Okay, so what we can do here is I'm going to take my paper and this corner of my paper right here, if you can see it, the little corner, I'm going to put at the point A. Okay. And then I'm going to draw, I'm just going to extend my line and extend my line. I don't have to be perfect, be as close as I can. I'm going to label that A. I'm going to put my pencil at the mark and I go 180 degrees, so it's half of a turn around the circle. Okay, now I got a little bit off, but since I have my lines, I can line myself up again. And the corner right here where my paper edges, that's A prime. Okay. So now we go back and we do B. And I'll use the same paper. So I put my B in the corner here. I'm going to draw my lines. So I know it's these two lines right here. I'm going to put my pen down, and I'm going to do my half turn. Okay, now I know B are these two lines here, and point B will be where the corner meets. That's B prime. And for C, now if you feel like there's too much going on here, we can go to the next corner. Okay, remember I put the corner of my paper at C. I'm going to draw my axis. Remind myself that I'm dealing with C. Put my pen down. Rotate 180 degrees. When I line everything back up, that point right there is C prime. Okay, now just to show you, if I put my pen down here and I rotate my 180, you'll see that everything lines up perfectly. Okay, so that method, if all you have is a scratch piece of paper, you can still get this done. So we write our A prime is -2, -3. B prime, -3, -1. And C prime is -2, -1. And that's it.